everybody, and welcome to another board game breakfast. All right, this is the last time I'm going to be talking about this for this year, and that is the end of our fundraiser draweth nigh. Actually, it is over on Tuesday, which is, well, tomorrow. So, well, we did better than I thought last week. We certainly caught up to our goals, and so we're going to start looking at finding a studio for Dice Tower. Hopefully, we have enough funds to do so, but I said I wouldn't even look till we got to 250, and we did. Will we hit our next live marathon at 260? That's possible, but it is what it is, and I really appreciate everybody who supported us. There's still a chance to do so. You can find a link in the comments below, but to everyone who did so, thank you very much. Well, I'm going to be doing a live Q&A today earlier than normal. That will be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to come talk to me and ask questions, that's a good time to do so. And really, if you noticed last week, we did a lot of live gaming throughout the week. You'll see some of that throughout this week too. The amount of live gaming that we're going to do each week is going to vary based on when we can get it done, because it does involve us setting up cameras and wires and running them all over the place. But hopefully we can continue to do it on a somewhat regular basis. All right, well, once again, guys, I appreciate you watching the show, so let's get it started. Okay, let's see what's in the news this week. Well, first of all, Asmodee has announced a game upcoming called Dice Forge. Now, I'm really kind of pumped about Dice Forge because it's something that I think is a neat idea, and that's where you actually are physically building dice. The sides of the dice pop in and out, so you're going around a board getting these dice, I think, to fight monsters and whatever. But this has been done before. It's not the first game that has your own custom dice. I think Lego Dice was the first company to do that. But Rio Grande had a game out from this last year. But this looks like it's a more in-depth game. I love the concept. I hope this is great. Days of Wonder has announced Ticket to Ride First Journey for the European market. This is First Journey Europe. Ticket to Ride First Journey was a Target exclusive game for kids. Basically a kid's version of Ticket to Ride, although it's only the first year, so I think we're halfway through that. So in half a year you'll see the American one everywhere, hopefully. But the European one, although from what I can tell, it's only going to be in the European market, I'm sure people will ship it over. Rather Dashing Games has announced This Belongs in a Museum, which is a great name for a game. And of course, this game is going to have the Indiana Jones theme, where you're running around trying to collect artifacts. The Netherlands has broken the record for having the world's largest playable Monopoly board. It is interesting how these records are always Monopoly, and I guess it's just because the game is that notable. But I thought this was kind of fascinating, and they played it with giant dice and even used a dog as a piece for the dog. Although, what happens if that dog gets tired of playing the game? I don't know. WizKids has announced a game called Deadline. This is a mystery-solving game with 12 cases to solve together. And let's see, Mafia Zoo is coming out soon. This is a reprint of Louis XIV, which is a Stefan Feld game. One that I'm not a fan of, but a lot of people really enjoy it. So this is kind of a, it's not, I don't know if it's a straight port. The theme is certainly different, the Mafia in the Zoo, which, who knows, we'll see. Port Royale is going to be coming out with an expansion that gives it a campaign mode, so that's exciting. And then Board Game Geek has announced that they're going to be having tickets for BGG Con soon, and since it's sold out, they're going to be having what they're calling premium tickets, in which you are guaranteed a ticket. Well, you get a ticket when you buy these tickets. You can pay for you can pay for a companion ticket. It doesn't come with that ticket. You get a hotel room, although you got to pay for it. It's a guaranteed hotel room. It's a guaranteed game when you show up from the library to play. And, well, mostly it's peace of mind, right? I guess you had a t-shirt and all. So we're going to start these off as a Dutch auction at $1,000 each. I think it's at the end of this week. They're going to start doing that. And then each day they're going to go down by $50. So is it worth $1,000 for you to go to Board Game Geek Con? We'll find out. At the same time, PAX has announced a new convention, PAX Unplugged. This convention is going to be held in Philadelphia. This is a convention unplugged, obviously. This is not for video games. The board game presence at PAX conventions has been growing over the past years, and so now this is one that's basically for tabletop and board games. Interestingly enough, this is the exact same weekend as Board Game Geek Con, so that's interesting to see which one people decide to go to. I imagine the fans are obviously going to go to BGG Con, but perhaps some people will have to decide which one to go to and which one will publishers go to. The organizers of PAX Unplugged have said that this is probably not going to be a common thing. It just happened to be the dates they got this year. Still, it's exciting to see another convention come around. We'll see how popular this one becomes. All right, most of the news this week seems like it was from the Kickstarter realm. So here you go, Suzanne. Take it away.
Happy breakfast, everybody! Hasbro Gaming Lab is sponsoring a game design contest for the next great family game. The 5 finalists have been chosen, and now they are all running Indiegogo campaigns to help get the attention of contest judge and notable investor Damon John. You can help out one or all of these projects by pledging at least $1 to their campaign in their hopes of winning the grand prize of $25,000 and the chance to work with Hasbro to help develop their game. First up is Chibi Quest. This is a semi-co-op game for 1 to 6 players. You pick a chibi character and then customize it with armor and weapons in a 1-minute speed dressing effort. Each piece of equipment grants you certain dice that you'll use to go out and battle monsters. As you win battles, you might gain a sidekick, lose armor, or gain gold so that you can re-equip before the boss battle. Chibi Quest does not have a pledge level for the game due to its production costs, but it is seeking small donations to indicate interest in the game for the Hasbro competition. Monsters in the Elevator is a fully cooperative game about monsters in an elevator trying to get to work. If the elevator gets too heavy, it crashes. If it makes it to the 20th floor, everyone gets to work and wins. Monsters in the Elevator uses an elevator deck that dictates the weight capacity based on your location, and then there are monster and action cards. Each monster has a weight, and there are cards that let you exit the elevator, move the elevator, and more. On each floor, players choose a monster from their hand and simultaneously reveal it, and then the overall weight of the elevator is calculated. This is a light, quick game with cute monsters that has a nice math element to it for young players. You can pledge and get a copy of the game for $15 plus shipping, or just pledge a small amount to indicate interest in the game. Cloud Control is a family party game for 3 to 10 players. This game does a great job capturing the feel of finding objects in the clouds. A player has to use these cloud cards to form an image that represents the things on their shape card so that other players guess what it is before the time runs out. Shape cards can be anything from objects to a concept. You can turn the cards any way you want, flip them, rotate them, and even move them as you're trying to get people to guess to indicate motion, but no words or sounds are allowed. This is a game that lets the group's creativity fly and will play great with both younger and older players. You can get a copy of Cloud Control for a pledge of $27 plus shipping, or pledge $1 to indicate interest in the game. Aardvark's Runaway Railroad is a cooperative tile-laying game in which the Aardvark's train is about to run out of track, but its animal friends are trying to help by getting more track out. Some track pieces have a plus or minus 1 on them, and when a round is done, these numbers will speed or slow your train. Players win if they can get the train speed down to 0 or get the track to make a safe loop back onto itself. But you lose if the Aardvark hits a broken track or the track ends with no outlet. You can pledge a small support amount, or you can get a copy of Aardvark's Runaway Railroad for a pledge of $24 plus shipping, but currently only to the US and Canada. And last but not least, in Trash Pandas, from the designer of Council of Verona, you play raccoons foraging for food by tipping over trash cans and rummaging around. This is a fast dice and card-based push-your-luck game with some nice luck mitigation elements. You roll your dice and collect tokens based on those results. Cards gained can be stashed for endgame points, but they also have abilities that could save you from busting or mess with your opponents. Maybe you'll use a paw to try and steal from an opponent, but if they have a kitty on their side, you're going to be in trouble. Trash Pandas has a lot of player interaction and some interesting choices in how you use those cards. And the game will feature art by the spectacular artist Kwanchai Moria. You can get a copy of the game for just $12 plus shipping, or you can pledge any amount to show your support for the game. Okay, I hope at least one of those projects caught your eye and that you'll consider throwing your support behind them. And to all of those game designers, I sincerely wish you the best of luck. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
So what's coming out from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'm going to be taking a look at Orcs Must Die. We'll be taking a look at the new version of Robo Rally and comparing it to the old version. And there's several other games. We're going to be playing a few games live this week, as I alluded to at the beginning of the video. We're going to be doing a back talk this week. Of course, every week on Wednesdays, if you're not watching it, you should take a look at my look back, where I go back 1, 5, and 10 years ago and talk about the different games that came out then. I'm also going to talk about some more publishers this week. One of them I'm going to be taking a look at is Zak Verlag, which is a fun publisher. And there's a couple publishers I'll be taking a look at. I'll be talking about my top 10 zombie games. And of course, there's a whole pile of stuff coming from the Dice Tower Network, different podcasts that are released each day of the week. You can find all that at dicetowernetwork.com. Let's keep moving.
Hello, Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise here. And with the roughly 200 games on my shelves, not to mention the 187 hidden throughout the house that my wife doesn't know about yet, it can be really difficult to decide which game to play. Even more difficult than explaining where the game that you finally do decide to play came from.
This one? No, I've always had this one, honey. It certainly wasn't hidden behind the furnace. Seriously, don't look back there.
And even more difficult can be getting a game into the house in the first place. And I'm not talking about sneaking it into your home through the loose floorboard in the dining room that you now regret mentioning because you realize your spouse sometimes watches these videos. No, I'm talking about catching the customer's eye in the store before the sale, in the hopes that your game box seduces the customer into bringing the game home with them hidden in the bottom of a bag of groceries. And in order to make that sale, a board games box has mere seconds to create a connection with the customer. And true, while an illustration of a disgruntled medieval landowner will certainly spark a potential customer's curiosity enough for them to pick up the box.
Oh, that does look interesting.
Once they do, that box must communicate the information that they need before they come to their senses and remember that the money that they were sent into town with was to purchase an anniversary gift for their parents.
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.
And that is why the little informational icons on a board game's box that tell us the player count, estimated time length, etc., are so important. These icons, referred to in the board game industry as instructionary iconlets by no one, communicate a great deal of data to the customer. And they can be vital in the difference between making a sale and not. That's why I wonder why more things aren't standardized in this way. For example, it would be great to list the average estimated playtime per player, estimated time required to teach the game, primary game mechanisms, if the game is language independent, the edition number, the player colors included, and the box's dimensions so you can quickly gauge just how easily it can be hidden in your pantry. To be fair, that last one may just be for me. So what do you think? What information would you like to see iconized and added as a standard addition to board game boxes? Let me know in the comments below. And as soon as I get back from having a copy of Viceroy surgically removed from my body, I'll check them out.
Hello everyone, it's
Lunchtime! Today we're going to be looking at a Friedman Freeze game called Fuji Flush. Published by Stronghold Games, plays 3 to 8 players, ages 8 and up, in about 15 minutes.
So this was the game at BGGCon. So I was there working with Stronghold, and every time I turned around, someone was playing this game. It's pretty fun. So the object of the game is to get rid of all of your cards. You start with 7, get rid of all your cards, but it's a really cool way that you can do this. So you want to play higher to flush your neighbor's number. Or, even better, you can team up with other people to make an even bigger number and flush more people. You just have to be careful that the person that you're teaming up with, it's not their last card. This happens often. So as you progress with the numbers, there are a lot of the little numbers, like the 2s, the 3s, the 4s. As soon as you get up to 20, I think there's only one high number. So a really good strategy is to play your smaller numbers first and maybe save those big ones for later. So overall, I think this is a really good game. Really pretty, a lot of fun, and it's quick.
I enjoyed it. It's another one of those German card games with all the numbers. There's a lot of those out there. If you've played things like The Game or 11 Nimmt or 6 Nimmt, those types of games, if you like those games, you'll probably enjoy this one as well.
One tricky thing is, remember, if it gets back around to you and your card is still there, you flush it, but you don't have to take a new card. That's the tricky part about this game.
And that's it. That's very, very important. So if you team up with someone and you guys have a really big number and you've beat the other numbers, great. You all get to toss your cards, but you don't pick up. If you get your number flushed, you do have to pick up a card. So then you're not getting rid of your cards. Teamwork is good, but be careful.
So thank you, Friedman Freeze, and thank you, Stronghold Games, for bringing this to us.
Yes. So thanks so much. We'll definitely be playing this one quite a bit.
Yes.
Yes. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
I have here in my hand a pile of pieces. I have this token here. It's a crown on one side, 5 there. This pink disc here, a little gray racing car, a little gray potion token, this blue gem, this orange token here, this minus sign token. And as you might expect, when I do component drops for my games, every once in a while a piece falls on the floor. But before you get there and say, that's why you should do component drops, this happens all the time with all sorts of things where we find pieces of games, whether a kid has broken into the collection and got games out, or just a piece of the game fell on the floor, no one noticed, and then got moved around the house, or maybe it was a cat, not my house, but other people's house. The missing game piece. So when you find a missing game piece, if you have a small collection, usually you're like, oh, I know what game this goes in. And even if you don't know what game in your collection the piece goes into, it's pretty easy to find. All right, check this one, check this one, check this one, check this one, check this one. When your collection gets as big as mine is, that becomes more of a problem. Now, sometimes you can see the piece. Like, I know this orange disc here. This is Dungeon Twister, right? And this pink piece here, I don't have many games with pink pieces in, but I'm pretty sure it's that Pony Glitter game from Haba. All right, great. This gray racing car, I can narrow it down. It looks like Formula Motor Racing, except I don't have Formula Motor Racing. So what company is this? So this is what happens when I get these games. Now, I have in my house a missing piece drawer. This drawer is a drawer that when I find these pieces and I don't know where something goes, or I do know where it goes, but I don't feel like pulling that game out, opening up all the bags, I throw that missing piece drawer. Then sometimes I'll go through the missing piece drawer and say, okay, today I'm going to go through these pieces and I'm going to figure out what games they go in and put them away. Or I'll just wait till I play the game like there's a piece missing. Wait, I know where it is. It's in the missing piece drawer. Now, it's annoying when you're missing a piece for a game and you find out that the piece is not in the missing piece drawer, because then it's actually and truly lost. But when you miss a piece, is it a big deal? Like this one here that says 5, this is a coin. I know this is a coin from a game. Not that big of a deal. Many games can miss coins and you don't notice, or area control markers and you might not notice. But when you have a specific number of pieces for each side, then it really matters that you have that piece for that side. And, you know, so losing a piece can be a big deal. But then sometimes I'm like, oh, here's a cube. Oh, a cube. Where's the cube going to go? And that's, you know, where it can get problematic, because you're trying to find out where everything ends up. So either way, for me, my solution is that the missing piece drawer to put them in. What do you do? Some people was like, drop everything right now. We're going to figure out where this goes. I'll put it up on the internet. What game is this? Help me out. Other people might set it aside, which I've done before too, and then you forget about it. Then later on you're like, where is that piece? And the rules. I'm sure you guys have never done this, but I have showed up to several game events with the game opened up and realized I took the rules out to read somewhere else and left them on a counter, left them somewhere, and I'm like, where are these rules? Or someone gives you a piece of one of your games and you're like, yes, I'll have this piece of game, and you stick it in another game to keep it safe, and then you forget that you put it in that game, which is even worse of a problem. Or maybe you put a whole game in another game or something like that. Stuff inside stuff. So missing pieces certainly can be a headache. Probably the best solution is when you find one to determine where it goes right away. But we're procrastinators, so sometimes we don't do that. How do you deal with missing pieces? Let me know in the comments. Let's keep going on with Board Game Breakfast.
Hi guys. This week in Lanzarote, an unusual museum has opened its doors. If you want to see the art, then you need to dive, either scuba diving or snorkeling, because everything is underwater. The artist Jason the Care Taylor has finished working on his monumental underwater sculpture, with more than 300 life-size human figures. The collection of sculptures is designed to provoke environmental awareness and social change, with each piece creating an artificial reef that will promote marine life and can be toured by scuba divers. It's not the first underwater museum, but it's the first in Europe. Spain joins Mexico, the Bahamas and Grenada. This week I am playing a game that lets you dive as deep as you want to collect treasure. The only question is, will you make it back in time to the submarine with your precious art before the air runs out? This week I am playing Deep Sea Adventure. In Deep Sea Adventure, you and your buddies are competing to see who can get the best treasure out of the ocean. The only thing is, you are sharing an oxygen tank. On your turn, first you deduct the amount of oxygen for each treasure that you are carrying. And then you choose, do you go back up to the submarine or do you go further down to maybe collect even more treasure? You roll the dice to see your movement speed. Sometimes you will find yourself moving fast, jumping over other players as you go. And other times you wish you could move faster, for carrying treasure will slow you down. If the tank is empty before you reach the submarine, you'll lose those precious treasures and they will float down to the bottom, creating an even bigger pile for even bigger daredevils to come and collect. It is a short game in a small box, but there's really a lot of fun in it. There is of course a lot of luck, but on the other hand there are some very nice choices that you can make as well. So a recommendation from me for Deep Sea Adventure. Thanks for watching, see you next week.
Alright, it's time for this week's What's on the Shelf. Alright, it's time for Eurogame Central. Starting over here, we have St. Petersburg. Melody and I just played a game of St. Petersburg Live. It goes from 2 to 5 players. I actually like it best with 2, although I don't mind playing with more players than that. The new version is quite nice. Stone Age. So one of these days I'm going to do a playthrough of Stone Age because I really made the components of this game look really nice, but it's a great worker placement game. Vikings Gone Wild, you just saw me play this one recently with Sam and Z. This is a great new deck building game, really enjoy that. Orleans, such a good game. And it's probably driving you crazy that it's upside down, so we'll fix that. I'm in a nice mood. There we go. That's not better. That's better. Did it bother you to hear those pieces falling? It's not a big deal. All right, so Orleans is a bagged pool building game. Then we have Le Havre and Caverna, 2 of my favorite games, both from Uwe Rosenberg, both from Lookout Games. Which one do I like better? At any given point in time, it can change, but they're both absolutely fantastic. Manhattan Project, still a good game about building nuclear weapons, which doesn't sound that good, but the theme itself is really well put together, and the workers, you decide to place them or pull them. Solid game. And Thunder Alley, a great racing game, so certainly one that you'll want to check out. Wow, I love these shelves. These games will probably all be here for quite a bit.
Hey, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. In this week's episode, I finish my Medici Makeover. And I also wanted to give you a couple shout outs. First shout out is for Goya Solidar, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, but you told me how to pronounce Medici. It's not Medici, it's Medici. Thank you. And second shout out goes to Justin DeFazio, who said this was more like a board game, not a makeover, but a make under, and I thought that was a really great play on words there. So I thought about that and go, you know, you're right. I can do a better job with that board. So I changed the board a little bit more, and I made it a little bit more appealing. I used kind of like eggs, you know, as the scoring channel, and, you know, just kind of made it more colorful all the way around. So hopefully it's a little bit better. This is the original. I know I can't beat the original artwork. I'm not an artist, I'm not a designer, but I do my best. And this is what it looks like now on the other side. So now people have a choice to play either game in the same box. And I also added cards to it. And each card kind of has, you know, hopefully you can see that okay, you know, the different types of fruit category, vegetables, proteins, candy, more candy, whatever it is. I did all the cards this way, so now the cards represent the different food groups that you'll be playing on the board. Maybe with kids, this might be a little bit more applicable to them and more appealing to them. But either way, this is a board game makeover of Medici, and now it's the 5 food groups. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. We'll see you next time.
Okay, so we talked about missing pieces, and I mentioned the component drops. Well, my table, as you may have noticed, is a Rathscouler's table. They do a great job with custom board gaming tables. And so they made me a target zone for my component drop. So this is a wooden board. You'll start seeing me use it this week to drop pieces on. So this comes with a piece of their fabric inside it, which has, if you notice here, has their logo, and then component drop with the target, and then the logo of the dice tower. And I got 2 different colors that I can flip and use. This is pretty cool. Let's see. Nice. Hit the target dead on. Anyhow, I have some other cool stuff that's coming up in Dice Baby next week, so stay tuned. I just want to show you guys that. It's time to drop some pieces.
Hey there, my name is Niels from Cyril's Brettspiele, and if you see me next year at some conventions, please hunt me down to get your promo stuff. Yeah, finally, Cyril's Brettspiele has promo stuff. Anyway, let's talk about the best and the worst of Jorvik. Jorvik is a new Stefan Feld game, and I will let you know what my favorite is. My favorite part on Jorvik is by far, it feels like this game is developed 1 billion times. You definitely feel that is an old Stefan Feld game, and it's a new rethemed version, so it feels so smooth. Every single action is so well balanced. So even these Loki cards, they are on the first hand looking a little bit overpowered, and you bring them probably up here or you bid on here. Everything, it is so smooth. It feels like a perfect, well-designed game. There's nothing wrong on the game and the game mechanics and the flow of the game itself. Except for, and that leads me directly to my worst thing in this game, is the iconography, the icons. If I can show you that one here. So these are the different goods, leather, wool, and so on. But take a look at this one here. This is brown, gray, and white. Hey, no, it's not. This is black, this is gray, and this is white. And when you have these cubes here, probably here are the cubes, and here you can probably see the difference. However, there are cards in it, they don't have the background, like this one here. And what is this for a color? In my opinion, that should be, yeah, what is it? You cannot really see it. You need this card, technically, or the rulebook to distinguish what color is this for. So the icons and the color of the icons are horrible. Thanks for joining me for the best and the worst and your week, and see you next week here live on the Dice Towers Breakfast. My name is Niels Cyril's Brettspiele, and enjoy the rest of the show. Bye bye.
Hello, my name's Dan and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about board games for children of around 5 and under. Today we're doing more magic. Cora, I've got a magic trick for you. Ready? Ready? Whoa! Is that freaky?
No.
Oh. Today, we're going to talk about this game. What is it, Cora?
Magic Labyrinth.
The Magic Labyrinth.
In the Magic Labyrinth, you play an apprentice magician who's lost some magic items in their master's maze. However, the maze is enchanted, so the walls are invisible, and you have to stumble your way around by trial and error. The game board's placed over a maze made up of little wooden blocks sticking out of a grid. The player's pieces have magnets in them, which stick through the board to metal ball bearings underneath. Players then take it in turns to roll a dice and move the corresponding number of squares around the maze, trying to get an item that's been drawn out of a bag. If the player's ball bearing hits one of the wooden maze balls under the board, it'll be knocked off and you have to move your piece back to the beginning. Officially, the first person to find 5 tokens wins, but we usually play just to 3.
What? So Cora, do you like the Magic Labyrinth?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
I like how I like how they can stick together without the board and how they can stick together with the board.
Yeah, it's got magnets that stick through the board, hasn't it? That's really cool.
I like how the little walls you can't see because they're underneath instead.
Yeah, but you can feel them, can't you, when they knock your ball off.
Yeah.
This is a really nice game, and it's also changeable as well. You can move the little walls around inside, so it can be a different maze every single time.
Yeah, you can just like, so that's down, that's down, that's there. You can just turn it around.
Yeah, you can switch it round. You can take the walls off even. Yeah. So we give the Magic Labyrinth 2 magnetic thumbs up. Whoa. Oh.
All right, let's talk about it. What themes are and aren't acceptable in board games? Disclaimer, I'm a liberal who really doesn't like being told what to do. I'm just going to get that out there. I don't like talking about politics, but politics. There have been many games over the years that people have decided were unacceptable, that have provoked people into all outrage and filled the Board Game Geek review section with hilarious ways to say, I disagree. And some of those comments, ironically, were absolutely filthy. Let's face it, thankfully, most games are about farming. But there have been games like Cards Against Humanity, Tentacle Bento, Kittens in a Blender and Secret Hitler that have produced their fair share of ripples on the pond of board games. Ripples on the pond of board games? What does that even mean? Now, I try not to judge anyone, but I'm also human, so I probably do that. And being morally outraged by a game like Cards Against Humanity, and then playing one of the literally thousands of games where the whole point is killing everyone, seems kinda hypocritical? Maybe? Personally, I'm of the belief that free speech and free creativity should be a basic human right for everyone, as long as nobody gets hurt. Which is the problem, because that is a completely ambiguously vague statement, and stands up for both the lovers and the haters. You are absolutely entitled to your opinion on that game, but slandering someone else for enjoying that game is super not cool. Are there games that really just shouldn't exist? Let me know what you think.
That's it for another Board Game Breakfast, folks. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope you have a fantastic week. Remember, if you want to join us in the Dice Tower fundraiser, there's still a little bit of time. Also, if you want to join our Slack chat, there's a link in the description where you can join that. There's about 1,000 people talking about board games at any given point in time. And we got some other cool announcements that are coming out next week, so pay attention to that. I'm very excited. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.